Hi everyone, it's the Red Muck, and today I'll be showing you guys my very first army. You've seen my very first tank. Well, today I'm going to show you guys my very first army. So let's start off with my very first tank. Boom. And as you can tell, it's the Rhino. So I want you guys to remember that my Space Marines, yes, my very first army was Space Marines, were red and black. So, yes, this is my very first tank. It is destroyed at the moment, but when I first got it, it wasn't. I was very happy. So, the next time I went to the store, I had to get something new. And he was selling captains, Space Marine captains, 10-man boxes of Space Marines. So, the captain, I think he was like $25. And he was pretty much an insta buy the next time I went in the store because after I built the tank, mind you, the tank was red and black. So I went back to the store and I bought myself a captain, a Space Marine captain. He's blue right now, of course, because I repainted all my gears blue. So I was very happy that I bought this guy to lead my army because I needed a captain to lead the tank, to lead the army. I needed something to have an army. So I knew I was going to come back and buy a 10-man squad. So first things first, I had myself a tank, I had myself a guy. I don't know how long it took me to paint, maybe 2 or 3 days. But I do remember going back the next time and picking up a 10-man squad. So we'll show you the 10-man squad, basic simple 10-man squad of Space Marines, tactical unit. Yeah, not too bad. It was very fun. Very fun. And now that I had a full actual army, I guess you would say, I was ready to rock. I was ready for some nicer toys, as one would say. But I wasn't just building this for fun. Because every time I went to the store, well, not every time, but like, they had this 6 by 4 foot table. And I would, like, the table have terrain on it. And some guys would leave their tanks on there and it'd be like a do not touch symbol. Because sometimes they would have like this big game, or sometimes it would just be there for show. So it looked pretty interesting just by walking by. And then I would see people also playing the game as well. So I would sit back, watch. I would ask what the rules were because me, I didn't have a rule book, and they weren't selling the rule books at the store at the time. You would actually have to order them online, and they would sell it, like ship them to you. Like like I said, this is a brand new store, so new GW kind of stuff, new product. So it was pretty cool. Like they were not even there for well, like we're probably like a year and halfway in, half a year, and I mean, so like 6 to 8 months, new store kind of deal. It was awesome. So now I got all this awesome stuff, some fresh guys. They also had a book, is what I should have said. They had a Space Marine book. Like you could use the Space Marine book, and you could also use the Chaos book. So they had a Space Marine and Chaos book at the store. So it was pretty easy to get into either of those armies because they had the both codexes and they had the rulebook obviously for 7th edition. So it was pretty cool. So you would see a lot of people playing like Space Marines, and yeah. But you could order stuff. So I did order a book, and I did also order a dreadnought. And I don't think I played my first game until I had a dreadnought or until I had my first codex. So I actually wanted to read over the rules, even though I was watching and all that good stuff. But I never bought a rule book. because they had like two of them at the store, so it was very easy to just pick one up and thumb through it. But it was very worth my time when I ordered this thing, when I ordered a book, because I remember getting them together, and this is a very nice army in my opinion. Like, any person would be happy with something like this. Like, I was very happy with something like this for the time being. So this was my army. This was my army to go. Now I was very happy. Like, I had my 10-man squad, I had a tank to transport them, and say, for example, when someone died because I read the rules, I had an awesome dreadnought just to, keep the peace, if you will. It was very fun, an ironclad dreadnought. So, I've got a flamer for close combat. I don't know what the hell that is, some kind of fist. I got a bunch of bolters. I was very big fond of bolters and las guns. So, this was my army. And when I finally brought it to go have my first game, I brought my brother to come watch. And I didn't think he was actually going to play. Because, well, when I went there was a designated day to go play these games. And there was a dude there. He had, I'm pretty sure he was playing Chaos. And then there was another guy there who had Tyranids. And I figured, hey, this is my first game. I'm sure they'll teach me how to play. Because they had armies of their own, like pretty painted armies and multiple armies. Like the one guy who had the Chaos Army, he also brought an Orc army. Just because he also played Orcs. I thought, wow, this is the first time I ever seen Orcs. First time I'm seeing Chaos, Space like on the table painted. And seeing Tyranids, like, wow, what are those Tyranids? I never seen Tyranids or Orcs on the table. I've always just seen the Necrons, the Imperial Guard, the Eldar, and the Space Marines, of course, because almost everybody played basic Space Marines, even me. So it was very, very nice to see and play my very first army against Xenos. It was, yeah. Not only that, the guy who had Chaos let my brother play with his Orcs. He didn't have a lot of Orcs, but this wasn't a big army anyway. So he let my brother play with, like, I know we had some Ludas. I know we had, like, a few Nubs. I know a pack of boys. And maybe a war boss. And it's kind of hard to remember all the way back then because it was like 7 or 8 years ago. This was in 7th edition, mind you. But this was my army. I remember this because I remember this sitting on my shelf for the longest time, something like this, before the arms race began. But we'll talk about that later. So, before I knew anything about Warhammer, knew any lore, knew any chapters, knew anything at all about Warhammer, like I was brand new. Like I had no idea. All I was doing was painting models, and this was my very first game. Very first. And I'm surrounded by Chaos and Xenos. It's like, wow, what the hell kind of game is this? This is crazy. I thought it was just gonna be Space Marine and Space. That's all I didn't know. I obviously didn't know. I didn't know what I got myself into. But when we played, it was fun. It was very fun, even though there was mistakes made all around. Like, but I caught on very quickly, like the movement, the shooting. And the thing that really got me was like that grid page, like the grid pages for like the weapon skill and ballistic skill. That was kind of weird. I do enjoy how 8th edition changed that, where it's just right in your data sheet instead of trying to flip all the way in the core rules, trying to figure everything out. That was kind of whack for me, but I got the hang of it. and it was still pretty fun. I do enjoy like the front haul and the side haul and the back haul. That was pretty cool too. And then the big blast templates and the small blast templates. I thought that was very fun. I thought that was fun and creative. Like someone would cook a grenade, it'd be a small blast template. Or someone would have a flamer, there would be a flame template. Or like, you know, I thought that was very fun. Like tactically, I had no idea because it was my first time ever playing. But even now, I still think that's very cool. I think they should bring that back, kinda. At least a flamer template. Make it a 12-inch flame template. I'd be happy with that. But that's besides the point. So when we did play, I do remember my brother losing pretty much all of his guys because they had low leadership and they were very weak. And I don't think he made it past like turn 3 or 4, so he got pretty discouraged on that. But it's only because they were orcs, right? Like, we had no idea how to play. Like, then yet we could see, like, Space Marines surviving, taking bullets, and we could see the Tyranids. Well, they get ripped apart too, but unless you're a great big thing. Other than that, it was still fun. Like, my guys got ripped apart. I have no idea what happened. Like, a lot of mistakes, like I said, happened. Like, I don't think I won. I'm pretty sure all my stuff got ripped apart off the table as well. But it was still a fun experience for one of my very first games. And, yeah. After that, I guess you could say I was hooked. I was very hooked. But, like after, like, I also had my own codex now, and then my friend got into it, like a buddy of mine got into it, and he bought himself, like, Blood Angels. And, like, there's a few people that had, like a Dark Angel army, a Blood Angel army, someone had a Necron army. Like, it was pretty interesting stuff. It was fun. Like, it was pretty cool. Like, everybody had Space Marines, so everybody was, like, equally matched. Like, everybody had at least a 10-man unit in a tank, and, like, everybody had, like, a Dreadnought or something. Everyone had, like, almost equal opportunity, in a way. But, yeah. But then after a while, like, I thought Space Marines were getting a little boring. So I knew you could buy. I mean, like, buy. I mean, you could, like, order stuff from the store, and I made the plunge and I ordered a Tau Codex, and it wasn't for me actually. I remember because actually after a while, now that I remember now, like I'm remembering right now. That's why that's why I wasn't really talking because I was trying to remember. Like I now that I remember, like I bought this, like I ordered a Tau Codex for my brother because remember, like I said, he got pretty discouraged after losing very like quickly because of the orcs. Orcs have the T-shirt saves. I didn't know that. He didn't know that. Hell, I know that now. But like on our first game, I thought everybody could shoot equally. Everybody has equal opportunity. You know, like I just thought everything was kind of same, I guess. But yeah, I was like, well, what army do you want, Dylan? Because there was like this picture book for 7th edition, like it was armies, and he thumbed through it and he was like, hey, I want this army, like a bunch of Gundam looking things. So I ordered him his first Tau Codex, and it was basically our real first codex, other than like the Space Marine Codex. Like, but the very first time when we actually wanted to play properly, this was for fun. Now that we actually knew how to play, like this was an army that we learned how to play. Like, I was actually starting to get bored, like I said, but I would still use them. Like, not bored of the game, but like bored of the Space Marines because everybody was using Space Marines. And I think that's where the hate started because everybody would have a Space Marine army. Nah, everybody and their grandmother had a Space Marine army. Hell, even I had a Space Marine army. Look at me. But that's the thing. So I wanted to be different. Nobody had Tau. Nobody. Nobody had Tau. That was the one thing. Because it was like at least a year's worth of playing. So my brother wanted to be different. Got the Tau Codex. I remember getting the Tau Pathfinders are what they're called. So we'll sweep these guys out of the way, get the clearing stick. So we'll slide those out the way like so. Bring that back. And you're going to see, you guys are going to see some very classic paint jobs. 1 second. So these are probably my surviving remnants of how I painted in like the first year, maybe second year of playing Warhammer, the tabletop, and now knowing what everything, and like at this point I knew how to play 7th edition, and at this point I knew what chapters were, I knew what lore kind of was, and this is my brother's army. So I do remember the 10-man unit of Pathfinders or 12-man unit of Pathfinders, I don't remember, but these are the surviving remnants of my Pathfinders. And we will now show you a very horrid paint job. Look at that. It's just Balthazar gold. And what's that? Is that apple barrel black paint? Like, it's just dollar store black and Balthazar gold with like a dollar store red for its eyes. Very not the greatest in my opinion, but it got the job done back in the day because, in my opinion, because I was going to be the one painting them. I wanted them to be kind of in the Bronze Age of their technology base. Even though that they're very technological. Like, look at them. They got like rail guns, they got plasma rifles, and they could fly. But I wanted it to be like how we were in the Bronze Age and we had like swords and shields. But these guys, Bronze Age, were plasma guns and flight, space travel. Because I also ordered, and I didn't order from right away. I waited until my brother read all the lore. Like, I wanted them to be like the Tau Empire. So, like, I didn't know how to paint the Tau army. And obviously, Balthazar Gold kind of worked. It does the job, like I said. But, so, they were the Tau, and I let my brother read the lore, and he told me, he was talking about Farsight, enclaves, and all that jazz. I had no idea what he was talking about. Like, he was deep into the Tau lore book. Like, I'm pretty sure he read it all. He knows more about the Tau than I do, and I'm painting a new Tau army as we speak right now. And I'll mention that later in a further video. So, but for the time being, yeah, these are my Tau. Well, not right now, but the surviving remnants of the Tau. So like I said, he was talking about Farsight, and I was like, who the fuck is who's Farsight? So he explains to me Farsight's like a rebel. He left, and he basically explained the whole lore to me. I can't explain the whole lore to you like right now because it would just cost too much time on this video just to explain about Farsight. When you guys go like look up a lore video, I'm pretty sure you guys know who Commander Farsight is. So, but without talking about the Commander Farsight, I bought a Commander Farsight, a classic one. So let's take a look. So, not a classic one, but like the fine cast one. And he's in the silver. Well, I painted him silver. What's after the Bronze Age or whatever? It just made him stand out because everybody was Balthazar Gold. And there's a very funny story about this particular Farsight. You might be wondering why he's so beat up and like broken and glued together and just matched and like, huh. And you might be wondering why that leg is so thick. Well, this Farsight has got a story. And it happened in the arms race. And I'll explain that very shortly. Now let's put this guy down. A very nice Farsight. So, by that time, like, this was not the army completely, because I did sell off my Tau, like my old Tau. But when I had the Tau, we had 2 Riptides. We had like a 3-man unit, like a 3 crisis, boom, boom, boom. 3 guys of crisis suits. 2 units of Pathfinders. And 2 units of Fire Warriors with a Fireblade. So that was the army, really. But the secret weapon was Farsight. He usually went in and he would slice a tank and, jet back and not get hit by the explosion, if there was an explosion. So every time I'd send him out, everyone knows that their tank would be destroyed. Because typically someone would only have like 1 or 2 tanks. So their tank would usually be gone when Farsight's out there. So I was pretty happy with that. But like I said, the arms race began. And what do you mean by the arms race, you say? Well, the store hosted a small tournament. I can't say it's a tournament, but it's more or less like a leaderboard, like how like one would explain like a Pac-Man arcade game, but real life, like a real life leaderboard to see who's got most points. And basically, they would do like there'd be 6 posts on the map, and whoever would hold most of the command points would get the points. And by the end of the game, you would tally up all your points and mark them up on your leaderboard. And the theory was, if you played more games, you would get more points. So it made people encourage more to play at the store more, which was a pretty cool idea. It worked very well at the time. Like, people would play, and then like you would have multiple people playing at the same time on the same board. Just split the board in half, as one would say. And it worked out. But arms races began. Like, people would buy extra stuff. Like, at the time, I don't think I had 2 Riptides. I know I only had 1 for sure, but I had 2 before I sold them. But I know I had 1 before the arms race. And I'm pretty sure I didn't have any Pathfinders before the arms race, except for like these guys. Well, I didn't have any Pathfinders because Pathfinders, they could infiltrate. I remember that. So I had Fire Warriors, Farsight in my like crisis suits. Like, that was like for my brother, and he enjoyed playing it. But like I said, the arms race began, so I had to hook him up with some of the good stuff, the goods. But after a while, he kind of fell out of it as well. He wasn't really. So I took over and piloted this command, because the arms race kind of took my brother out of it. Like, again, like, this is more of a me kind of like I enjoyed it a little bit more. But he just loved how I was always painting the stuff, and he would always throw out the ideas. But then he would use my Space Marine army. So pretty much we switched. So he used my Space Marine army during the arms race, and I used his Tau army in the arms race. So in a way, we just switched. So people would get like dreadnoughts, people would get like las guns, people would get like devastator squads, and then like I would be playing as Commander Farsight like all the time, like all the time. And every time he would get killed, or shot or wounded or died in a way, like quote unquote died, he would break because he's fine cast. Like, because I would walk home with him. But sometimes he would tip over on the table. Sometimes the old glue would just fall apart and an arm would fall off. It was funny. It only happens when he would get killed, though. So it's like he had to curse whenever he died, he would break. So, yeah, sorry. Once